What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, let's jump back into some comments, answering your comments here. I have, it's been a couple of days, so I'm sure they have built up, and that's all we got. So thank you again for everybody who left comments. Let's go ahead and dive in. So Pom says their next reward card, next reward set should be tradable but not playable to play the card. Oh, I think we answered this one already. I get where you're coming from, but I think people wouldn't want to win stuff that they can't play with if they have to spend money on it. That kind of defeats the purpose. So I understand where you're coming from. Maybe we can do that for something else within the game. You can like earn stuff and then find a way to activate it, but I don't think reward cards are the place to start that. Matthew Young says, I don't think Soulbound cards will hold a lot of value. I think most people who want them have them. The only ones I think will hold a premium is Gold Foil, Legendary, and Epics. True. I think actually all Gold Foils will probably hold some decent amount of value for anybody that's had difficulty collecting them. But now you're going to have these Gold Foil rarity draws, which could come in a month or 2 months before they rotate out into the new stuff. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how things play out. Pom says, the way the game is structured, DEC peg is fundamental for the tokenomics. If the team cannot get DEC to peg, then the whole idea must be scrapped and consolidate all tokens to SPS. A stablecoin, which isn't stable, is a red flag for new investors and players. True, but kind of one of the things that they like to tout here is whenever the stablecoin is below value, then, you know, stuff is on a discount. So, you know, take that for what it is. But I mean, I agree with you. In order for the tokens, like in order for SPS to take off, right, and lead the charge, DEC needs to be at or above peg. International Travel Channel, sorry. Thank you so much for the comment. Appreciate you, DJ Colin. Paus says, I saw land keep at sub 1K. That's shocking value. The company needs to bring something out that makes people want to keep land. Else I'm worried about the future. Yeah, well, right now land is not looking good. So, I don't know what the team's going to need to do, but we'll see. Paua says, this might be a video on its own, but what happens if Soulkeep doesn't come out? What happens to the pack purchases? I think you're just out of luck. Sorry. Which sucks because I'm holding a ton of packs. So I hope that ends up not being the case. But, you know, the delays on Soulkeep, continued delays on Soulkeep are really frustrating because I thought it was supposed to be out in May. And it's been mostly radio silence. And here we are in the final week of May and there's like nothing. And my thought is that there was going to be some kind of like beta, like, you know, open beta period before things like truly went live. But honestly, I don't even know what to expect anymore from Soulkeep. I still have a lot of high hopes, but it's weird because I have these high hopes and I think that that's probably foolish because a part of me is looking at this and saying, yeah, Soulkeep is going to be its own thing. And as much as it is a partnership between, you know, Double Coconut and Splinterlands, Double Coconut needs to make money from this. And so I don't think they're going to have the same incentives to drive value to SPS the same way that Splinterlands does. So, you know, they're not going to be looking at burning vouchers and burning DEC. That's not going to be a primary thing for them. They want to get the player base up, and they probably want it to be as easy of an entrance as possible. So obviously they're going to have, I think, a free-to-play version, which would be cool. But yeah, I don't know. I'm keeping. It's like I have high hopes, but at the same time, I'm also trying to keep my feet on the ground here and not get too excited about whatever it is because we've gotten excited about a lot of things in this space in Splinterlands that have absolutely flopped. So part of me is like, yeah, this one's gonna flop too. And that's the thing. As much as I love the genre of tower defense, and as much as I'm looking forward to playing it, that doesn't change, right? Like I could have a ton of fun playing it, but it could still flop, right? I could be like one of the 5 people that really likes playing it, but we'll see how it goes. All right. So Asman says, as Matt is now saying now, there won't be a free play in Wild anymore. Anyone who wants to play their max anyone who wants to play their max or not Chaos Legion will pay monthly permit to even play soon. Yeah, that was, I mean, obviously this comment is only a couple days old, but it's already outdated. Yeah, that's been an interesting development for sure. Super new user says, what drives me nuts is the super high prices for things like promos. I spent $1,600 on Waka, probably $1K on vouchers alone just for Dr. Blight during the presale, when none of these things will ever have any chance of regaining their value when newer and better cards come out for pennies. Promo and older cards need to have additional utility, period. Currently, those cards are basically just passed around between older players when what seems like a discount. I don't even know how many copies of like Dragon Jumper or Mimosa or Venerator I've bought because the prices have just kept dropping. I feel like players who invested in the game, yes, invested, Gank is crazy to say players aren't and shouldn't be investors, should be able to reasonably accept their items to at least retain some of their value because the game will treat these items in some more special way to distinguish them. Waka, for example, thinking back on it, I spent money to try and help the game grow, but also because you found future value and all that. Okay, I don't know. It just seems like loyal players, investors were basically punished for staying loyal and investing last cycles. The promos like Waka and Blight really left a bitter taste in my mouth. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that there should be a way to help retain value for these cards. I just don't see it as possible. And I'm not trying to be like negative Nancy over here, but I don't see a way in which a game like this can ever hold value for any of those cards because they will rotate out of Modern, they will get nerfed or balanced by other cards in the future. And so part of the reason that I haven't bought any of the Rebellion cards is because I don't think that they're going to hold their value. I mean, I make videos here talking about them holding their value up until this point because I've actually been quite impressed with it. And I think the team has done a fantastic job if you compare Rebellion to Chaos Legion. But I haven't, spent any significant amount in Rebellion because I think it's all going to come down. Now, it's not going to go down to the levels of Chaos Legion, but I like to buy at the bottom, and I don't think that we're at the bottom. And here's the thing. I don't think any card that is like currently part of the meta or part of Modern, whatever, is going to be at the bottom, right? It's always going to be a premium for buying in first. And that's kind of the way that I think people should be looking at it. Again, you can look at it like the other way, right? But I think you're just going to continue to get burned. And what I mean by the other way is like, oh, if I buy a card, it should either stay in value or go up. Whereas I look at cards, when I buy a card, I'm expecting it to go down in value, right? So I'm expecting it. The premium is so that I can play it now versus people who aren't buying it. And I just want to own it and play it. And I know, Gank is crazy to say players aren't and shouldn't be investors. I kind of agree with where Gank is coming from. I don't know that I agree with Gank because I don't remember or I don't know what he said specifically about this, but I've been very clear on this channel that I've separated out the player side from the investment side, right? I own a good amount of assets in the game and I don't consider cards as investments, right? So cards, whenever I buy them, I stop looking at the price. I don't check my deck value. And I know others aren't the same. I'm not saying that what I'm doing is right. I'm just saying it's what I'm doing. So, when you like leave a comment regarding this, I look at that in my perspective. And again, this is just my opinion. My perspective is that you will always get burned. Like you will always get burned. And so therefore, right, like the only people that should be spending on cards the day that they come out are those that want to be playing at the highest levels of the game and that will pay the premium. And that's exactly what it is. Will pay the premium in order to have that card early, right? Early access. Value for like pretty much everything goes down over time, right? When you buy something brand new or want to be the first to get it, that's when it's going to be its most expensive. So I don't view cards here any differently. And again, that's not trying to hate on the design. I think it's literally what we've seen with every TCG, or you can, put this out to like any game or any kind of market, right? At some point, like these things will get replaced by something newer, better, and shinier, and they will not hold their value. I think what happened in 2021 was an absolute fluke, and it was just a perfect storm of crazy demand and very little supply. And I don't think we're ever going to see that ever again. That doesn't mean I don't think Splinterlands is not going to be successful. I think it will, but the idea of cards just going up forever because there's always going to be this demand for them is kind of insane, right? Like I don't have a kitty because I don't need a kitty to play the game and enjoy the game and make champion in Wild, right? At least that's what the case is now. If I needed one, then maybe I would have bought one, but I don't need one. And at some point, somebody's going to come in and be like, yeah, I don't need a Dr. Blight. I don't need a Mantaroth. I don't need whatever promo card that's out there. So that's just the harsh truth that I am sharing with you, or at least I don't know if it's truth, but it's my truth, right? It's my opinion, and hopefully that helps you navigate the game a little bit better. I know it does nothing to solve your problem now, but that's something that I just had to come to terms with a little while back and slow down my card purchases unless they were going to be strictly from an entertainment perspective or taking my earnings and putting them back into the game. Okay, so iHorror says, I have a big question. What did the killer whales do to help the game? This may seem unimportant to most, but to me, it's the most important. I feel like we are being lied to. All right, that was a very quick escalation. Did they not follow up? If they didn't, we are run so badly, no wonder everyone left. Seriously, what's the deal? They made some of us buy the episode and then what? Not even listed? What do you mean? We need to do better, fix this ASAP. It's disgusting how they pumped the show, then forgot about it. Feels like every single project Splinterlands does. GLS, anyone... Okay, well, GLS definitely is not on the same level as this. I mean, I don't know what you were expecting with... I don't know what you were expecting with Killer Whales. I mean, I think they've actually done more than any of us could have expected. It's just people aren't interested right now. So they put out... They made the show. They included Splinterlands. I don't think anybody from Splinterlands had to pay for this marketing. So they included us on there. If you wanted to watch it, you had to pay, which again, as soon as I heard that, my enthusiasm for the show went down. But even on top of that, they had Aggie on several Twitter spaces, and Aggie's been obviously pushing that wherever he can. So that's more marketing than the new team since Matt took over has done, because there's no marketing department. So all of that, in my opinion, was probably free marketing. So I'm not upset at all with Killer Whales. I think Killer Whales has done more for the game than anybody would have expected. The problem really just comes down to the fact that nobody is gonna buy an episode about crypto gaming. I first got excited because I thought it was going to be something that's just available on Apple TV, right? Anybody can just stumble onto it, but nobody stumbles on to paying for something for $2.99 or whatever it is. So yeah, I mean, they got people to buy whatever it was, which I never did, and I never watched it, right? But just again, my enthusiasm was killed right away as soon as I found that out. But they got people to get excited about it, and that's cool. It exists, it's out there. But the problem is that there's a barrier to entry, and when people have literally unlimited content free or already included with their subscriptions, and what I mean free, I'm talking about on YouTube, right? Why would somebody ever go pay for Killer Whales? And I'm not even trying to hate on Killer Whales. Again, I gave them kudos for what they did, but it's just realistically speaking, if I wanted to watch crypto gaming content, there are endless videos and channels on YouTube that I can watch either for free, included in YouTube Red, or just suck it up with the ads, and it'll be probably even more up to date, right, than watching something that was filmed 6, 7, 8 months ago. So again, I think Killer Whales did something cool. It's just maybe they did it in too early in the bull, right? If they had recorded it now and Splinterlands was included along with other top cool games, and this came out in October of this year, that'd be pretty awesome. But yeah, it ended up being too early. Nobody wants a battle pass, period. A lot of people agree with you, but that was on my thing about the battle pass. Okay, let's jump up to the next one. So Tail says, makes sense. Better late than never. It will also make players with alt accounts combined level up their decks and cards to perform optimally. It will, however, also reduce earnings for all wild players and disenfranchise existing players, further reducing player numbers and asset values. Sometimes you have to lose a limb to save the person. I don't see how it's going to reduce earnings for all wild players. I mean, I think we're looking at this the same way. And it looks like somebody asked the same thing too, right? Why would it reduce earnings if 95% of the accounts stop playing? Oh, here. So you said it would definitely depend on the price of the battle pass or permit indeed. Matt said increasing earnings may possibly even offset the new cost. We'd have to see. Oh, okay. I think what you're saying is that it would also reduce the earnings. Okay, so it'll reduce the earnings just because there's a cost associated with it. So whatever people were earning before, if that stays the same, then all of a sudden they have a $1.50, $2, whatever, DEC is at peg. The value. Okay, I get that now. Makes sense. All right, Super New User says, I don't see how this would stop or even slow bot farms. Seems more likely to slow actual players because the cost of the battle pass is not likely going to be worth the rewards and hassle. For me to buy it, I would have to see the rewards that at least cover the cost of it. Otherwise, it's another system to just bleed me out. I'd rather like to say that Modern doesn't require Battle Pass, but it's supposedly bot free. Okay, just to add on that, a bot farm could just pay for the pass and get to play and get rewards indefinitely. Well, again, this is a season pass, so they have to continue paying for it all the time. Now, here's the beautiful thing about this, okay? And I know where you're coming from. So if say 50% of the permit fees went to increasing the wild rewards pool, they could work there, but there needs to be something to add reasons to purchase or rent cards. So here's the thing. If all of the bot farms decided to stay, the net positive for this would be that they would be burning a ton of DEC or vouchers just to stay. Right now, here's the thing: you're looking at it at the same way that a bot is. Right now, the way that this is designed, right, is you're going to have players like yourself and bots. And yes, I'm lumping you in the same group as bots, and that's not a diss to you, right? You are looking at the pure ROI aspect of it, whereas others may not be looking. They may be more, gaming focused, right? And I'm not trying to put them up on a pedestal, but I'm just saying, like, people who like to play and want to play in wild format and be a part of that, they're going to look at, spend $2, $3, $4 a month. Yeah, that's within my gaming budget. I can do that, and then I can earn more stuff in the game, and that's better than playing Fortnite where I pay the battle pass and I don't earn anything, right? That's the different mindset. For you, you're approaching this the same way that a bot would. You're looking at this and saying, hey, is this worth it? Strictly from a financial perspective. And the beautiful thing is, if it's worth it for you, it's going to be the same thing where it's worth it for bots. But at the end of the day, the rewards themselves from a token perspective are not increasing, but the amount of DEC burned every season with them being involved is, right? Right now that's 0. But it's going to go up to something at some point, and all of a sudden we will start supercharging the DEC burning and hopefully the flywheel. Now, what makes this interesting is, okay, let's say the flywheel actually works. Let's say all of a sudden, these bot farms are coming in and, whoever it is, it's just like all of a sudden SPS starts going up in value. More people will start more people will start botting in the game and turning on accounts because it's going to be worthwhile for them to do so. And guess what? They're going to continue burning all of that DEC. Now, maybe they take the SPS out and they sell it, but guess what? That's what people have been doing the entire time. That's what people were even doing back in 2021 when SPS hit $1. So again, I'm not saying that SPS is going to fly to the moon and hit a new all-time high, but I am saying that there is no cost right now. And if it is economically viable for them to do so, then it's still going to be a net positive to the ecosystem, and that could grow and create this interesting virtuous loop until it doesn't, and then everything comes crashing down. But hopefully that's part of the crypto crash that'll occur in 2026, right? And then we'll all just have to pick up the pieces afterwards and wait for the next bull run. All right, so Ihar says, and lastly, every change loses players. We don't have time for Matt to try things out. Leave the effing game alone. You have done enough damage. A lot of people are agreeing with you here. I mean, I disagree with this, not fundamentally from what you're saying, but if the game just stays the same, I don't think new players come in. So it's either we let the game get stale, nothing happens, and players will slowly bleed out anyway, or we try something radical here that's going to piss off some of the players and hopefully bring in the masses more. Now, I don't know if you're making the argument that if we just leave the game, don't improve it at all, and just let it sit there, somehow magically new players will come in. And, if that happens, that'd be awesome. And then you would be right. But I just don't see that happening. Not when there's like so many other fantastic games out there. All right. Pimp Daddy Smoke says, I hate this. I've always said I'll ride this project till the wheels fall off, ride or die. Now, this might be the last straw for me. I might start making an exit plan. Well, you know what? Pimp Daddy Smoke, that's on you. You should always have an exit plan. But I'm sorry to hear that, obviously this is going to be a last straw for you. But I would recommend, even if you decide to stay, right, recommend make your exit plan. I think that's just smart to do. And that's not shade on Splinterlands, but I mean, in any kind of crypto project outside of Bitcoin, you need an exit plan. And usually it should be Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the exit plan. All right, so Pomp says, bot farms have outsized earning potential because their rewards are outsized with respect to their skin in the game. My idea of a permit would be CP. To play in bronze, you need to own, not rent. CP to play in silver, and so on. I mean, again, I think that we could still add that stuff on. Matt said he's not opposed to it, but the idea that here's the problem he's trying to solve. It's not necessarily the bot's outsized earnings. It is the longevity of the ecosystem. By buying cards one time and then being able to earn rewards in perpetuity, you are creating a situation where extraction will consistently bleed the project dry. So this constant skin in the game, as distasteful as some might find it, is required so that over time, WoW just doesn't get bled by thousands of accounts that are just playing with soulbound reward cards. So it's necessary, unfortunately, and it's solving a couple of problems, not just the earning potential. Nicola says maybe they'll ask some real estates later on. You'll never know. I don't know what you mean by that. Ask some real estates later on. Is that land related? Maybe, I don't know. All right. So Bruce Gillis Gaming says it's crazy that we are going to yet another needless hit in the name of bot prevention. Wish we could just get over ourselves as a community and introduce KYC. I'd like half the money back from my spellbook purchase. If it now only gives me direct access to half the game, I'll no doubt end up paying it though. Otherwise, all the cards I've bought for Wild are borderline useless. Well, you can use them on land. Sorry, I know it's this is definitely a contentious topic, but I don't want to stoke the fire here. So Pinlock says, I'm all for this, but my problem is that the team has a history of being tone deaf to prices. $10 to $20 would be okay. Well, they already said it's 2,000 DEC. So again, I'm 4 days behind and these comments are already outdated. Sorry, guys, I'm trying. All right, Gigaster says, I add liquidity for DEC grain. What coin will I earn in this transaction and where to check it? I believe you'll earn DEC, and that is just going to be added to your overall liquidity. And I made a video. Thank you, Snowball, for the comment here, replying to them. I did make a video talking more directly about that, so you can go look that up. I think it's called Understanding the Trade Hub. So Billy J says, I'm just frustrated it didn't come out years ago before all the assets have been drained. All the apples have been picked from the orchard, and now we have to pay to get in. However, I do still have faith the game grows after bots are neutered, so I'd still probably consider it, especially if a battle pass came with a promo card, extra energy, extra glint, a few vouchers. I don't think it would be hard to make it juicy and enhance the game. I agree. I think that they could do something where right now Wild and Modern are the same thing, just different formats allowed. But I think that they could actually grow Wild format to be almost like its own game mode. And what I mean by that is, okay, you have, the glint shop, which, you earn glint either way, but they could add stuff and value to Wild to entice people to come in and be a part of that, right? Because Wild, to me, it's like an open book. Like you could play any card or any whatever from any set, and so it should be a little bit more wild, crazy, and in some ways difficult, right? But if you can get to those levels, it could be interesting. Now, obviously, botting is always going to be allowed there, at least at this point. So I don't know how you would make it, but I think that they could add value where like there's some prizes specifically for Wild, right? Maybe at some point they're able to differentiate like the glint that you get from Wild. Again, that might be too much, right? But there's something that they could do, like you said, promo cards or whatever, where it's just like, hey, if you finish, like for example, if you finish at some kind of like let's do it this way. If you win, right? Because I don't know how else to do it because the leaderboard's always going to get dominated by bots anyway, since botting is allowed. But let's say they do something where it's just like an airdrop or whatever. Where it's like, hey, we're doing this fun little promo card and we're going to give a prize to all the people who played in Wild that won, not just played, but won 150 games this season, right? Or 300 games this past month. They could do cool stuff like that with Wild only, in my opinion, that would get people to not just play in Modern, but it's like, oh, I want to play in Wild too. I want to get that. So let me like split my energy, or maybe I have to buy more energy, right? And again, none of this stuff should ever be like meta defining, but it could just be like fun little prizes or things here and there that reward people for being active and participating in Modern. And again, participating in Modern is going to have a paywall to it. So it's like, well, because of that, now you can offer more prizes or things like that, especially if we start to see value start to accrue back into the ecosystem. Supreme Victory Studios says Terrence Howard help us. I think Terrence Howard is working on bigger and better things than Splinterlands, so leave him be, please. All right, Techno says, great, note my sarcasm, one more extra barrier to stop people playing the game. Very grateful to the devs. Lots of support for that comment as well. Sight Through says, basically done with Splinterlands. I'm so close to selling out. When I bought in, I thought I was going to get to play other people. This has turned out to be so far from the truth. I'm either playing a bot or battle helpers. The biggest issue I have is whenever I play ranked battles, it just gets me angry. Why own a game that just makes me angry? You know, some days I feel the same exact way, and that's why I let the bot just take over, because I don't want to get beat down. And the day you speak of coming, it doesn't just require new players. It requires new players and existing players buying more cards so they can play in Modern to actually play against real people. I simply won't buy any more cards. I've not seen a return on my investment in Splinterlands, and in hindsight, I would have never invested. Fair enough. You know, I'm not calling you out on this Sight Through, but since you did leave the comment, I am curious to know, because so many people are very hyperbolic like this, saying, I'm so close to selling out. If not now, when? And if not this, what? Like, what is going to cause you to sell out? And I'm not trying to be smart. I'm not trying to be snarky. I'm literally just curious. Like, there's been a multitude of changes that a lot of people have been unhappy with. And I'm not saying that you're saying this to be hyperbolic, but I do think a lot of people say these types of things to be dramatic. So my question to you is simply, like, what's going to cause you to sell out, right? Because I think it's good, not just for yourself, but for the rest of the community to know, like, what are these lines that shouldn't be crossed? Because otherwise, you know, the teams, they don't care about lines. They're just going through X, Y, and Z. And again, maybe they shouldn't be caring about lines in the first place. But I just, out of my own personal curiosity, I'm wondering what is it gonna be where you're not basically done, but you're actually done. Joffrey says, another tax to play. This game is a complete net negative in every possible way. Buy cards, buy SPS, rent SPS, yada, yada, yada. Matt has single-handed killed thus game. I think you mean this game. Well, it's not dead yet, but the asset prices are not looking good. I'm curious to know, you know, for all the hate being thrown at Matt these days, do you think Aggie would have done better? I mean, to open up a can of worms, like with the direction that Aggie was going, do you think things would have been better? And that's not a leading question. I'm not trying to, you know, play one side or the other. I'm literally just curious. There's been a lot of anti-Matt comments as of late. And, you know, I'm not going to sit here. I think I do enough defending of Matt, or at least agreeing with him. But I'm just curious, what is it that you guys would have wanted to see? So, I don't know. Joffrey says the team, in quotes, can't unlock Soulbound reward cards, but code a new tax on players. That they can definitely do. I'm sure all the downward SPS pressure is coming from bots in Wild, not the 150,000 plot farming SPS. What a freaking joke. Way to lose more players. I don't think it's even just in the land. I think there's just too much SPS. There's too much SPS. And there's too much SPS out there already, and there's too much SPS being given out. And I don't know how to solve that problem. You know, again, getting new players is the easy solve, but like getting new players is like literally the easy solve for any game. How you do that with the current player base is so tough. I mean, we could do DAO proposals to reduce emissions to almost nothing. But again, that just discourages the people that are playing for those high rewards from actually going and trying to play for the high rewards. And it doesn't solve the problem of the amount of SPS we have currently in the ecosystem, right? So it's just, yeah, it sucks. All right, so Master Shonuff, actually, before we do that, let's see. We're almost at 30 minutes. And I'm still 4 days. All right, there's a lot of comments on this day. Okay, so Master Shonuff says, I don't get it. Is Matt saying bots are a problem in Wild? If that's the case, ban bots in Wild. Why do Wild players have to take a hit? Wild players don't put dollars buying new sets to play the game. Plenty of players have been playing with rebellion cards in Wild for now. Not a fan of this, but I may need to read a bit more to gain understanding. Well, I appreciate the open-mindedness. I think you should read into it a bit more. And it's not just bots being the problem in Wild. So Matt is taking an approach where solving the bot problem in Wild is a side effect, a really like desired side effect, but really the problem he's trying to solve is the idea that anybody, bot or not, is able to play, like to buy assets and then essentially earn in perpetuity. And if they're extracting, they can bleed the game without putting any other value in. So you can buy whatever cards you want. And then for every season that you want to play, you have to burn some DEC. And overall, that is in some way going to indirectly add value back to the SPS token. So is it going to be able to do enough that gets SPS to a point where we're all happy? I don't know, but obviously that's the hope. All right, so Jonathan says, yeah, Battle Pass for Wild format makes sense since you don't need to buy more cards to earn. Hopefully not too expensive, maybe 5,000 DEC per month. Man, it's even less than that, 2,000. Swami says, best to convert SPS into fiat toilet paper in order to continue paying for gas for the van down by the river. Swami says, until gas prices rise above budget and the repo man comes to take the van. Hey man, if you got to get gas, you got to get gas. If you're going to sell SPS for that, that's cool. I usually sell SPS for ice cream, but gas is just as important, if not more. All right, so Parham says Splinterlands is a dead game. More and more players leave. You have international travel saying another one. Thank you. Side Drake, P-Side Drake says, I'm bothered by the attitude that players in Wild are somehow not contributing to the game. People have spent thousands of dollars on cards that eventually rotate out of Modern and become devalued because they can play. They can only be used in Wild. These folks should at least be allowed to continue using their assets that they pay good money for without being marginalized, nickel and dime penalized. So I agree with you, actually, Side Drake. I agree with you on this, and in my opinion, there should be a place in which people can play with Wild cards and not earn anything. Because what I mean by that is like, okay, you paid for these assets, right? So your argument actually holds a lot of merit in the sense that, hey, all of a sudden, like, I paid for these assets one time, and if I want to play with them, then I have to pay this other thing, right? This fee in order to continue. Now, here's the thing. You own these assets. You should be able to play with them however you want. You shouldn't, though, be entitled to earn forever. And I think that's the argument that's being made, right? Because if that happens, then again, Wild format just gets bled out and it becomes bad for everybody. So I think that there should be a good like challenge or unranked or whatever mode that you are able to do and play with your cards. Now there's always guild brawls, there's always tournaments, so there is value there. But in terms of just being able to play battles, right, or ranked play, I mean, or like make it ranked, but you just don't earn, right? And I don't know if that ends up being, I don't know. The idea just came to my head of like, what if you have like the free to play and the pay to play version as well? So people could still bot, like you can play in Wild, but every time you play in Wild, you're not going to earn anything if you don't pay the pass. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't stop you from using your assets. It just stops you from earning. Because again, I can understand the attitude or the perspective that you're coming from where it's just like, man, I paid for these things. I want to be able to play with them. Awesome. You should have a place to play. I agree with that. Should you be earning, though, without contributing more to the ecosystem on an ongoing basis? I think that's where the argument gets stuck. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so Siggy SA says, hey, After Sound, just curious what you like most about Prime. Oh, this is a Prime thing. What type of gameplay interest? I'll respond to that in text. All right, Powis says, would have been good if they did this when Weirdbeard mentioned it, when we have more players. Yeah, maybe. Mildew, what a name. Permit per mat. All right, so cool. Crypto Hank says, I like it. Now they can subscribe over real players, flooding the ecosystem with more and more cards. They get an income and can just leave the players to play. Actually, the team does not make any money from this. It is now that we know, it is all getting burned, so that value is accruing back into the SPS token, either indirectly through vouchers or indirectly through DEC. So Firebolt says, yeah, Matt says losing more players going from 500 to 200. Actually, I'm curious to see how many players we actually still have in Modern. Oh, well, he did mention that, so I'll go back and check that out. All right, so Rainier says, the thing that scares me is this could take away more utility from old cards like Alpha Beta, which makes me quite sad. Yes, I do own those cards, so I have the financial side for this opinion too, but I feel like Splinterlands has turned a 180 from years back. They wanted to make old cards desirable, but now they only want to make old cards desirable while killing off older cards. Or newer cards desirable while killing off older cards. Because of that, I'm not buying any new cards because I know they will get left behind like my Alpha Beta cards. Just my 2 cents. Again, I don't disagree with that. I'm not buying any Rebellion cards until it is. I think I said the earliest that I would buy Rebellion would probably be November after the airdrops are all done. And after everybody's had their fun and it's no longer like the talk of the town. But that's just my thought. Is there anything else I want to address here? The problem is land was supposed to make alpha and beta very valuable, but land is just not desirable to your point. All right. So Mickey G says, LOL, how low can CL card prices go? A lot lower if this gets implemented. Another bad idea he's had. To be fair though, nothing can compare to the F up that is a narcissist whale DAO. That is the narcissist whale DAO. I don't know who you're referring to. Narcissist whale DAO. I'll leave that one there if you want to clarify, Mickey G. Do you mean like the entire DAO is just narcissist? Okay, you know what? I'm not going to go further on that. To your point, though, it is funny to see how low CL prices can go. And sorry, before people get offended at that, no, I'm not laughing at the fact that you lost a lot of money. It's just amusing to me that there seems to be no bottom for Chaos Legion. Because I even in all my bearishness, Papa Bear would have never expected prices these low. But considering that there's still so many cards out, still 2 whatever million packs. Yeah, I think we can see. I think we can see pack prices for Chaos Legion now probably hitting like a quarter if they haven't gone down that low yet. All right, so Mark says there is a proposal that has passed with nearly 72% approval to address this issue. It requires CP permission. At least I'd like to see a similar proposal for Battle Pass to get approval from the community instead of a top-down approach from the devs. Well, again, it's not SPS related, so the proposal is more so just, hey, how does the community feel? But, they get to make that decision, and I'm glad Matt was explicit about that. Tilly Tot says, LOL, this is not a battle pass and a permit to play. Wasn't that called a spellbook not too long ago? Fair enough. Lord Kagor is agreeing with you here, too. All right, so Enko Jim says, I play in WoW and contribute a lot to the ecosystem. It's a bit of a piss take. I'm being forced to buy Rebellion packs to play in Modern or pay to play. What the hell happened to this game? It does seem that when Aggie stepped back, things started to fall apart. Again, this is very interesting because I just want to know from you and from everybody else, like, what do you think Aggie would have done? And I'm not saying that Aggie would have or wouldn't have done anything. I'm just curious to know what people are thinking when they make these comments. That's all. All right, so Asmon says, honestly, I think Matt is going in the right direction, and I don't think the game is going to live by keeping existing players happy, but by getting new players and willing to spend players. Let's face it, most of the wild players are just waiting for some bulls so they can dump while not buying new stuff, so Matt doesn't care if they leave, and if changes are better for new players, it's a good thing, and ironically will benefit us if we stick through, if player acquisition succeeds. Okay, so I have a video idea that I'll still make. I've just been avoiding it. Not avoiding it, I just haven't had the time to like really dive in. That it's going to be spicy because it's what I'm essentially going to say is that people who are here now don't matter. And I'm not, the team isn't thinking that. I'm not saying that. It's just people here don't matter. If new players come in, the people who are here now don't matter. And I know that sucks, but it is what it is. I'll make a video on it. I'll just leave you with that teaser. All right, should we go ahead and... oh, yeah, we made it to 3 days. Amazing. So that was a good place to end. I think we're good for now. I'll try to do another one of these tomorrow just so we can keep up. But that is all I have for you guys in this video. Have an amazing rest of your day. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.